From tablets to drones, even tractors with their own computers. As a farm family of Mississippi, we use the latest technology to get the most out of our land, growing acres of rice, soybeans, and corn. These digital tools help us map out where to plant and harvest. They manage our farmland from a bird's eye view and even tell us the right amount of water to use.
It's a smarter way to farm, providing for our family and yours, the farm families of Mississippi.
You know, we've moved on from the game, but obviously we've got to recap it with you guys. And, you know, disappointing outcome to the game. Did not feel that, for whatever reason, I'm the head coach, didn't feel like we had great energy, which is, you know, not been an issue here. Sometimes we haven't played well at times, you know, over the 2 seasons, but I don't know why that was. But also that's kind of one-sided because we did, after the first quarter, have good energy on defense. So, you know, maybe that's also a product of, you know, having some very valuable offensive players not playing and some guys that haven't played very much playing. So, you know, we had a lot of opportunities in the game. Our defense played well. We did not play well on offense, especially in critical situations. And, you know, kind of like the Alabama game, you know, been the 2 games where we've struggled on our 4th down conversions, and, you know, those are a big deal, just like they are when you make them. You know, they keep drives alive. When you don't make them, you know, you don't get any points. So, you know, I'm very, you know, we research everything that we do, and you know, I would say, you know, just like the book was very right in the middle on, you know, the 4th down on whether to kick, you know, when it is 8. So obviously we didn't make the 4th down, so we would kick if we could redo it. That's how it goes. But, you know, just kind of felt we had struggled on offense, you know, that it was going to take a lot to, you know, make the field goal and then also, you know, stop, get the ball and move all the way down. And, you know, you're still going to need to score a touchdown. It's not like it is truly a 1-possession game that you're going to a field goal like a 6-point game. So, you know, it is what it is.
Just what's Matt been like these last couple of days? How's his ankle, and what is the plan for him? Do you think he can practice this week? Just that sort of stuff.
Yeah, he did not do anything today. You know, I was surprised he came back. It looked like it was really bad, obviously, when it happened, like season ending, broken, and that's how he felt it was. And so, luckily, obviously, it wasn't, so he was able to come back in. He's been very hard on himself over, you know, last day and a half. You know, 1st down interception, you know, that's just totally unlike him this season, and something maybe a year ago he would have done. You know, makes it a great play to get away from the guy, and he's done it all year where he goes and, you know, he's got 5 yards and run out of bounds, and 2nd and 5, forces the ball across his body. Has not done anything anywhere like that this year. So it just shows you everyone's human, no matter who you are, how good you are at a position or whatever you're doing, that when you try to force things, you know, and get out of doing, you know, what the plan is, that can happen. And I mean, I think everybody knows why that happened. You know, he felt like he had to create something. We weren't making a lot of plays around him. He's, you know, I think, you know, when we look today that, you know, he's at that point playing without basically 5 starters on offense and, you know, just trying too hard. He's very competitive, and that can backfire.
With both Ontario and Braylon, they looked like they tried to play through it on Saturday. Is it just pain tolerance with those guys? Is it you taking them out, or are they kind of tagging themselves out if they can't go?
Well, Drummond was a new injury that happened, and he was unable to return. He actually was out earlier than that. We actually put him back in just for a trick play, knowing that he didn't have to do anything on it, that he could hurt himself worse. And Braylon, you know, tried to go, and just watching him and talking to him, and he's like, well, I can, go if I can cut off this leg, but I can't cut off this leg. Well, we're not doing that. So, that's why he basically didn't play. So, very difficult position for us on the road against really, really good players on defense to have that many guys out. And, some guys stepped up and made some plays.
Lane, I guess as far as late season non-conference opponents goes, this is a tough one this weekend. Just your thoughts on Liberty and what you've seen on them.
Yeah, with where we are injury-wise, Levy said, hey, have you ever experienced anything like this? And I said, not on one side of the ball. For whatever reason, they're just all on offense. And even some that are playing, like we know the quarterback, even some that are playing aren't close to 100% that are even playing. So, yeah, I would like this to be some opponent you'd never heard of before, that didn't have a first-round draft pick quarterback would be nice. But so it's basically like having another SEC game. So it is what it is. We're excited to come back home. We need the environment to be like it was last time, for our players and for our recruits. And, whatever, I didn't look at rankings, but we're still ranked. So you still got a ranked team to come cheer and hopefully watch Matt play again.
You talked about the injuries in the wide receivers room. Any of those young guys that you feel like right now are going to have to step up and help down the stretch?
Well, we've tried. We try to push them in practice, and whatever the case has been, there's just been lack of consistency. There's some talent there, but if you don't know what to do and you don't do things right consistently, it makes it very hard on the quarterback, especially on a road game, to have to line people up or people running the wrong routes. So we'll keep pushing along because now we're in a worse position. If we were playing today, we're in a worse position than we've been yet. Now none of the three receivers are available.
Lane, do you have a professional relationship with Hugh Freeze? Do you know him?
I know Hugh a little bit from Chris, from my brother working here. He was always very good to Chris. I've talked to him before, like when we hired Corey Batoon. I was at a restaurant when he was in town and he came by and sat down for a little bit. So I know him a little bit, very good, great respect. Was on the other side when he beat us twice and has done a great job wherever he's been, and very unique, offense that has always given people problems.
What were your impressions of those teams that you faced when you were at Alabama?
I was just always amazed how well they played on game day and, kind of the fresh theory, just knowing their practice plans versus ours at Alabama and just the difference that the programs were run. Those players, he had them fresh and ready to go on game day. I'm not saying we weren't. I'm just saying, for two times to lose only two regular season games and both to beat Ole Miss and, from top to bottom, obviously we had a better roster than Ole Miss did. So he does a great job getting them ready to go on game day.
Lane, you've had some weeks where Jerrion Ealy's been pretty impactful in the offense, then there have been some weeks when he really hasn't done much at all. Is that a health thing? Is it a consistency thing? How would you kind of detail that?
That was a health thing prior to this week. When he's been out, this was not by design, the 3 carries. And when you play tempo and you get into a game, and especially when we run RPOs and these guys are playing cover 3 all the time, which means there's another person in the box. So we're calling RPOs and you have to throw them. That's why we were so out of balance pass run, because otherwise you just hand it to an extra guy. And so you may get in there in your series, the ball doesn't get handed. So that was not by design for the carries to be so out of balance to him. Says what a great kid it is, especially in this generation nowadays where kids want to complain or, go on Twitter to get attention from everybody, because they feel bad for themselves. This kid was awesome, met with him and said, hey, I want to make sure he knew that wasn't by design. He had played great the week before. And, kid, which is awesome, kid said, hey, let's go win the next game. So speaks a lot for him. It's refreshing
Coach, I know you've answered fourth down questions the whole year, but what would your message be to fans that are frustrated or question the amount of fourth down attempts you guys have against SEC teams?
It's what we do, and so when it works, those same fans like it. And, coming into the game, we had more fourth down conversions than anybody in the country, and one of the top 5 percentages of anybody in the country. So sometimes they don't work. And when you understand analytics and you understand, hey, you can miss the field goal too. So it's not like you just say, okay, hey, well, you got 3 points guaranteed, or you can get a punt blocked or a punt can get returned. So, it's not as easy as just, okay, well, you get the points there, or when you punt, you automatically stop them. So there's a lot that goes into it. So.
You brought up Malik Willis. Is there anybody you've ever coached or played against who he reminds you of?
I don't know that, and really, honestly, have not studied him that much. I just watch things to see personnel and how they really play. So I've not watched him in depth. I get reports from our guys, on the other side, how hard he is to defend, and that the NFL scouts love him. And I think someone just said walking in, there's going to be 22 NFL teams here for the game, including some general managers. So that speaks volumes for these two quarterbacks.